Good morning and welcome to another Wine Steward video. We have so much to tell you this week. I don't even know where to start. Of course, we're going to talk about the brand new wine bar menu. We change it absolutely every week, so it gives us fresh information for videos at the very least. And we will get to that, but where shall we start? Why don't we start by using this beautiful prop in front of us as a prop for this beautiful piece of cheese. And I believe you can tell in this poorly lit video that that's orange. Well, what does orange have to do with tomorrow, which is St. Patrick's Day? Absolutely nothing color-wise. I just needed a prop. I needed a piece of cheese. There is a cheese coming in an hour or so. It's gonna come in through that front door in a big box. It'll be a big wheel of it, and it will look more appropriate for tomorrow's holiday of St. Patrick's Day. We are bringing in a gorgeous cheese that I recently found at the Berkeley Bowl in, well, Berkeley, and thought, gosh, that's beautiful. I was a little scared of it too, because it is white cheese with all kinds of green streaks in it. It's very attractive, and yet many of you who are put off by so-called blue cheese or greenish blue cheese are gonna have the same concern that I did. I bought it, I tasted it, and I realized, wait a minute, this thing called the Sage Derby has nothing to do with blue cheese. It's actually very mild in flavor. Like I said, this is not the cheese. Sage Derby, beautiful, with these green streaks in it. It's made in Derbyshire, I think that's how you would say it, in England. And I know England is not very Ireland-ish, but the color of the cheese certainly is. And I thought it would be so cool to get that cheese into the cooler in time for St. Patrick's Day. But I want to keep carrying it because, frankly, on your well-appointed cheese board that you have when guests come over for a party where you might have 3 or 4 different cheeses, this will be striking. It will stand out, attractive in appearance, and yet extremely safe in flavor. I think I can say that. It's a very mild, semi-firm cow's milk cheese called Sage Derby. Why is it called that? Because it comes from Derby or Derbyshire, and sage, the herb, is used to confer the coloring during the cheese making process. So that's where the color comes from. Does it taste all that sagey? I mean, even sage can turn some of you off. Mildly so. It's hardly even detectable. If you didn't know it was using sage in the process, then you might not even taste the sage. At any rate, they can apparently also use marigold leaves and parsley leaves and, man, maybe they ought to make, no, I'm not going to say that. At any rate, check out the green cheese. Get some of this too. How about green and orange going on? That'd be fun. And happy St. Patrick's Day. I should have worn green today. I'll wear it tomorrow. Where shall we go now? Let's go to this topic right here. This is a gorgeous wine that I have not gotten to carry for, gosh, at least 2 or 3 years. And yet I got to visit this place and meet the remarkable people in, I believe, 2008. Many of you have seen this picture hanging on the wall. Where am I? Well, I'm somewhere in this. In fact, someone has even said, Jim, is that like a rock art, a rock album cover, and where maybe this is your greatest hits cover, because we all look very solemn and as if we're posing. But we're here, in fact, this is my friend Bill Craig, miss you, man. Fellow English major, fellow graduate of Cal, 10 years apart, I must say. He's 10 years older than I am. Got that on you, buddy. Bill Craig and myself and a well-known importer named Fran Casella and a few others loaded into vans and went all over France and made one stop here to visit these 2 folks. I can't remember their names, but they were very, very cool. As you can see, they are a little hippie-ish, you might say. Well, they are, in fact, the very first biodynamic farmers I had ever met. And back in the mid-2000s, we had only started to hear about biodynamic farming, and we were a little suspicious of it. You know, it's one step past organic in quality and in belief system. And some of the tenets of that belief system sound a little odd, but they all add up to better wine. So let's show you that wine. This is their product. This is 100% Chardonnay from southern Burgundy, France, from the Macon region of France. More site-specifically, Vieux-Classé, even more site-specifically, Quintaine, Quintaine. That's where these guys reside and biodynamically farm. And they make this gorgeous Chardonnay from their own fruit, of course, and they never use an oak barrel. This goes into that winery that was behind us in the photograph, where even though the place looks old, you walk in and it is meticulously cleaned. It is just like there's stainless steel tanks. That's where the wine stays. On its lees. What are the lees? That's the leftover dead yeast cells from the fermentation. They don't move the wine off of that. They leave the wine on what's called the fine lees for 1 year in those tanks and then bottle it up. And when you have this particular white Burgundy, you're going to think, man, did they put that in oak? I mean, what is making this so deliciously rich? It is, in fact, I believe, that very, very careful farming system, Biodynamics, making easily the most delicious wine from Southern Burgundy you will ever have. It is richer than you expect. If it's too rich, just chill it down a little bit, but realize that you're having a wine that never saw an oak barrel, that has inherent honest richness based on very, very thorough, meticulous, rather perilous farming system called biodynamics. It basically means you can't add a whole bunch of shit to the soil or to the wine to fix things. You have to be a very, very observant farmer to farm that way. At any rate, I can't say enough about how delicious this wine is. It is here now. The producer is Guillermo Michel, as it says right there, Guillermo Michel. Can you read that? And one of the best white Burgundies you will ever have. Burgundy, of course, happens up in Chablis and then the Côte d'Or and in the Côte Chalonnaise. This is from the southernmost part called Macon, from a site-specific area. And we're lucky to have it. I brought in 6 cases. I'm buying one of those. Another follower of this wine is buying one of them. So now we're down to 4. I'm going to use it at a private event on Sunday and turn more people onto it. So in the meantime, you may want to scoot in here and grab some of this gorgeous, naturally rich Chardonnay from Southern Burgundy. All right, that said, let us re-announce, because we would love to fill some more seats, that next week, next Wednesday evening, we are having Lizzie Butt here. That didn't sound right. We're having Lizzie Butler here to represent Chile and Argentina. Across the Andes, we're going to have about 6 wines from each side of the Andes Mountains. So therefore, wine from Chile, wine from Argentina, and this may be one of them. This is the Vino project as made in the Maule Valley of Chile. It's a wine I've admired for a long time. And she'll be talking about those 2 places. You will learn more than you ever thought you could at one 2-hour event. She is brimming full of information and delivers it enthusiastically. You will learn a lot about those 2 wine countries in one great evening. Next week, we have seats available. Go to thewinesteward.com to sign up for Across the Andes with Lizzie Butler. Please pronounce that name correctly. All right, so we have announced that event. Let's announce this. This is cool. Look at that. This is something you might not expect to find at the Wine Steward, because we are not, in fact, the sake steward. In fact, most of us don't know shit about sake, but when you taste good sake compared to the mundane stuff you might have at the local restaurant, if you are a good taster of wine, I think you can also tell when you are having fantastic sake. You can also tell by the price tags on these. These are not the least expensive sakes you'll ever have, but at the Wine Steward, we want to show you good stuff. We have identified goodness here. 3 different levels of sake from Akashi Thai, and you know, like I said, they're not inexpensive, but they are wonderful. I can't tell you all about them. You know, sake may or may not have a little extra alcohol added, and that gives it a certain term. Quality sake uses less of the rice, so it's milled down to a better part of the rice grain, and there's a lot to learn. So we should, in fact, have a little seminar sometime about it. We did it a long time ago. We got to repeat that and get these guys open for you and kind of like do a flight of sakes. That would be cool, wouldn't it? In the meantime, I want to let you know these are in the cooler. We keep them in the cooler because they will last longer that way. When you open one of these bottles, you can enjoy them. The quality will remain stable for about 5 days, is what I'm told. But keep it cold and get into these sakes. If you already know sake, you probably know more about it than I do. I mean, all I can really tell you is this is the least expensive and it's damn good. And you can tell these are more expensive because they have gold lettering on them. You know, that's how bad I am at this. But I can tell you, as a taster of things, they're great sakes. How's that for a start? What else should we announce? Hey, let's announce the wine bar theme. Finally, here we go. All right, so what we're doing on the wine bar this weekend is showing you, of course, a different sparkling wine every week. This just got back here. We only got a little, and I thought, well, with just a little, maybe one weekend's worth of product, why don't we just bring it up to the wine bar again? This is a Cremant de Loire. So that means it's a sparkling wine from the Loire Valley. You have 8 or 9 different Cremant districts throughout France where they can make sparkling wine that they cannot call champagne, but champagne can no longer use the Cremant term either. So there was a little term swap agreement, and now you get Cremant d'Alsace, you get Cremant de Limoux and Die, and Bordeaux. There is Cremant de Bordeaux, not very much. And this is, I think some of the best Cremant comes from the Loire Valley. And this is going to use 50% Chardonnay, 50% what? The best grape in the world. What would that be? Chenin Blanc. So bubbly, really beautiful. It's made the same way as Champagne. That's the law for Cremant. You have to do the second fermentation in bottle, not like Prosecco in a big tank. So this is more important. You can tell by the texture. I'm going to tell right now. Delicious breakfast wine, I must say. So that's a Cremant de Loire. Come on in, have a glass of that. And or do the white flight. This is yet another reason why this flight is an example of another reason why I get all the bottles open in my office as I am building the menu, because I want to make sure that every wine gets to shine. And so the sequence, the tasting sequence, is really, really important. It's sometimes really easy to figure out, and other times I'm surprised. And in fact, I thought that this wine would come second in the white wine flight. I tasted it first, and then I had the second wine. How did this work? Yeah, and I put this second because I thought it's a Pinot Gris from the Russian River. It's going to have a little more body, even though it's no oak, but it's domestic. And I thought it should come after an Italian white that I was putting first. That Italian white totally overwhelmed this by being first. So I had to do some moving around on the menu in order to accommodate each wine. Each wine really deserves to have a voice because they're beautiful. But when I had this first and then this totally disappeared. I mean, so this is gorgeous, but you need to have it first, all right? Damn it. This is Boletto from the Russian River Valley. Pinot Gris, no oak, silky, white fruits like white nectarine or white peach going on here. Just a little bit of like rained on foliage. I think I just spat. At any rate, good way to start. And it's back in the house. We carried this a few months ago, and I'm glad to have Boletto Pinot Gris back. You can call it Pinot Grigio if you want. It's the same grape. Here it is. This is the wine that was overwhelming that wine. So, and yeah, I wouldn't expect agave. Agave is a sub-region of Piemonte, Italy, where they make Cortese. The great happening here is Cortese. I wouldn't expect agave to overwhelm that Pinot Gris, but it did. And anyway, so here we go. Beautiful agave in what we call the pineapple bottle. Villa Spadina is wine number 2 on the flight. Delicious stuff. Wine number 3 on the flight. The best grape in the world. What is that? Class, come on. We just went over this. We covered this subject. The best grape in the world is, of course, Chenin Blanc. And this is 100% Chenin Blanc, this time from, again, the Loire Valley. The sparkling wine was half and half Chenin and Chardonnay, and this is 100% Chenin Blanc. We're going to be giving this to the White Wine Club next week, and this is a little preview of that wine, okay? Chenin from the Loire Valley by a producer of Vouvray. So they don't say Vouvray on this particular label, but the vineyards are there and nearby. This is a wine that we had the other night, and a lot of people loved it, and I have enough to show you. So in other words, we did the first class of the wines of the Old World class series the other day, and showed some Burgundies and some Bordeaux, and this was one of the Burgundies we did. It is white, and it is Burgundy, but is it Chardonnay? No, in this case, it is the other grape, the other white Burgundy, known as Aligoté. It's nice stuff. It's bright, clean, maybe not multi-dimensional, but it doesn't need to be. It's frickin' Aligoté. It's meant to be just like refreshing and zingy, a little lemony perhaps, a little bit of a fresh apple, and that's all. It's good. Aligoté from Burgundy. Good stuff. Affordable too. Much more affordable than a lot of the white Burgundies made of Chardonnay, I can tell you that. All right. Beautiful Chardonnay from Eden Rift is the way we're going to finish this flight. Chardonnay has some of you running away saying, oh, I don't drink Chardonnay anymore. You've got to try this. This is grown in limestone, south of Hollister, near Calera, and it is beautiful, discreet, fragrant, characterful, but not huge Chardonnay. Eden Rift Chardonnay finishes the white flight. We will always have 1 or 2 wines that are available only by the glass. We want you to experience whole glasses of wine sometime instead of doing the tasting flight exclusively, because you can't really know a wine by the tiny 2-ounce soundbite sip is what I would submit to you. So try a glass of Pinot Noir, perhaps. This is a brand new Pinot Noir from Oregon. The Willamette Valley of Oregon really suffered. You think Napa Valley did in 2020 with all the smoke? They had it even worse. I did not taste a 2020 Willamette Valley Pinot Noir that did not have smoke taint, and it was very sad for that industry because that's about all they make up there, you know? I mean, that's their cash cow. So they lost basically a vintage in the Willamette Valley. So let's give our northern friends a hand and celebrate the return of great wine from up there in the form of 2021. So this is a beautiful, pretty, it's not heavy, it's not light, it's perfectly poised Willamette Valley, Oregon Pinot Noir. Nice stuff that you can have by the glass. Here's a cool wine that is Cabernet. On the wine bar menu, I think I wrote something like, the Napa Valley would charge you an extra $100 for this experience. And what I meant by that is that this wine, made of Cabernet in Mendoza, Argentina, in fact, a sub-region of Mendoza called the Uco Valley or Valle de Uco, and even a sub-region of that called Gualtayari. So like this is special, small production Cabernet that, yeah, it's a nudge over $30 a bottle, but it acts like what I call cult Cabernet from the Napa Valley. There's a term that if you read Robert Parker's wine reviews or those of others, a term besides dark, black currants and violets and licorice and blackberries, there's a term that's often used when describing a cult style Napa Valley Cabernet. It's pain gris, P-A-I-N-G-R-I-L-L-E, which is just a fancy word in French for toast. But what it is literally, if you look at that word, that's two words, pain and gris, it means grilled bread. Like you can take this bread, by the way, we baked some, it's ready for you to enjoy at the wine bar. If you were to just like turn on your gas stove and put this bread on there, just for a minute or two before it starts smoking and like even catches on fire, you used to do this at the campfire with your marshmallows, right? Or do this outside on your grill. Grilled bread, especially when it's good bread, is remarkable. And there's this certain smell of that in a sumptuous cult style Cabernet from the Napa Valley costing $150. This does not, this has that intensity. It's just, oh my Lord, wow. I think we should do this blind, like tell somebody this came from Pritchard Hill in the Napa Valley and it's only 150 bucks. And people would sign up for it. And then we would pull the bag off and say, haha, gotcha. And then we would sell a lot of this wine. We don't have a lot of it to sell, but anyway, you get to try it by the glass. Beautiful, intense Cabernet from Gualtayari, Valle de Uco, Mendoza, Argentina. I'm practicing for next week's Chile-Argentina events. The red flight at long last, here we go. Well, prepare yourselves. We are going to use this glass for 5 wines of the exact same variety. We're gonna have 5 versions of what, Pinot Noir? Nope. Wait, that's a Pinot Noir glass, yes, but this glass shows off another variety very well as well. Syrah, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to ask you to open your minds and have 5 beautiful Syrahs. I've been waiting a long time to do this particular sequence of beautiful Syrahs. Been finding this one from here and here and here, and I finally have a nice lineup for you that will not spook you. In fact, there are no Northern Rhone Syrahs in this, and that's kind of a shame because that's the source of Syrah. That's where it came from. We're not going to include that in the flight. I just didn't have room. These are a little more domestically oriented, but they are true Syrahs, and they are true Syrahs. This is by Jaffers down in Santa Barbara County. It is called State Street Syrah. Jaffers is actually located on State Street in Santa Barbara. And this is their like little inch in that could wine. It is their least expensive, kind of like for the restaurant wine list Syrah. And it's not heavy, it's fragrant and beautiful, well poised. This is a wine of which you can drink glasses because it does not overwhelm by the sip. So in other words, maybe you want to order a glass of this after the flight. At any rate, the fruit comes from Stoltman Vineyard. Much of it. It's using fruit from Ballard Canyon where Stoltman is located, and much of the fruit in this wine is from our friends Stoltman. I know you know those guys. Alrighty, wine number 2 takes us to a completely different place. Also will land in this glass. Escudo Rojo. I tasted this last week and said, how much you got? Well, we only have 3.5 cases in California. Nobody's brave enough to import a lot of Syrah unless it's coming from the Northern Rhone where, that place is famous for it. But if a producer in Chile is making Cabernet and Carmenere and Chardonnay and Sauvignon Blanc and Syrah, the Syrah is just as good and sometimes the best wine they make, but our market is a little resistant to Syrah. We're just a little scared of it. So very little of this came. I said, send it all, we'll take it. We will defend this wine. It's gorgeous, it's affordable. I think wine club members get it down to like around 20 bucks. Everybody would enjoy this wine. I dare you to not like Escudo Rojo from Chile. Wine number 3 brings us back to California. In fact, even though it says Central Coast, it is more specific than that. The fruit sourcing is in fact all Santa Barbara County, mostly near Los Olivos, and probably uses fruit from Stoltman or near Stoltman in Ballard Canyon of Santa Barbara County. This is the Andrew Murray Tous les Jours Syrah, another great value that we recently gave to our wine club. And I am proud of you guys because you came back and bought more. In other words, yes, if we just say enough in our wine club notes, give you a nice discount, show you great value in your wine club, it doesn't matter if it's Syrah. You will taste and think and realize, holy shit, this is good, and you'll come in and buy more. Well, you did. In fact, Lex just bought a whole case of this, so good man. Andrew Murray Syrah, it's good. Wine number 4, we're very, very proud to carry the wine of small, thoughtful producers where the wine costs, yes, a little bit more, but that's economy of scale for you. Mick Unti, U-N-T-I, is throwing a lot of fruit on the ground. In other words, doing a lot of green harvesting in order for the fruit remaining on the vine to have more intense character. Well, what about all that fruit on the ground? That's money. And you have to kind of like make that up somehow. So yes, this does cost a little bit over $30, but Unti Syrah you can smell and taste the difference. There's more mineral happening here. I think you can get more place out of this particular wine from the Dry Creek Valley. Unti makes beautiful, thoughtful wine up there off of only their own fruit, estate fruit, and the Dry Creek Valley. Go see them sometimes, but come back here and buy the wine from the wine steward, all right? Here is finally the final wine. This could be called Syrah, but in fact it uses the term Shiraz because it comes from, yes, Australia, where they just often call Syrah Shiraz. And you would expect that since it's Australian, if you've had a little bit of like Barossa Valley Australian Shiraz or Shiraz, that it is going to be potent and a big jam ball with laden with oak as well. Like that's how a lot of the Barossa Shirazes behave. But this is from Adelaide Hills, cooler area, more judicious winemaking, I would say, and it is elegant. It's a great, elegant way to finish a Syrah flight. So I invite you to put on a little courage, come upstairs and have a delicious Syrah flight as poured in this glass. Thank you for listening to all this. Don't forget the event next week for which we still have seats available. Don't forget the fact that we are getting a really beautiful looking cheese, very safe tasting cheese called Sage Derby within hours. It'll be here. And happy St. Patrick's Day and all that. So thanks again for watching these videos, and we hope to see you in the store, upstairs or downstairs or both sometime soon. Bye-bye now.